other planets, other dimensions.
Okay.
Yeah, the number of people who disappear every year, the government, the so-called shadow government, is aware of that. Nothing they can do about it because they're not in control.
Okay, and are you also aware that there are simultaneous realities going on in which different timelines are playing out? Have you tapped into this? Okay.
But don't try to explain that to Joe Sixpack on the street.
Right.
And I love Joe.
I understand.
I spent most of my life working with Joe Sixpack. But don't try to explain that. Yeah, look, when you're dealing with advanced technologies, advanced spiritual development, civilizations that are, like Kaku calls type 3, 4, who can manipulate matter and time, our concept of time is fundamental. I mean, our concept of time is childlike. Time is not at all what we think. And one of the things I've learned in my travels is that you cannot separate space and time. Space-time is a given. It's a unity. When you travel in space, you travel in time. And almost all of them who come here from incredible distances, and those trips take just a few seconds in many cases. Just, you know, and they're here. I mean, we're talking about guys dropping in from 65, 200 light years away. They're here.
And again, you know this because of your own experience and interaction with them in which they've told you this, or because other military personnel have come to you and told you this?
Both.
Okay.
Both, to a point that I'm totally convinced or I wouldn't have the courage to share this with you.
Okay.
I'm not the only one who's had this happen to him in his life. I'm one of the oldest old farts who's speaking out about it, but I'm not the only one. You've talked to lots of different people who've been the same places I've been, who've met the same people I've met, and who've learned the same things I've learned. So my little 2 cents, for whatever it's worth, is not the only bit of information. You've been getting it from a variety of sources. Some of them are not that reliable, and I see you smiling, but most of them are. Disinformation is a problem we've got. We've had it from the beginning. And I jokingly, I think, said to you last night about the case where we had this disinformation program underway by the bunch of clucks back in Washington. And they spent a lot of time and money putting this out, this big information thing, to get people, you know, focused here and there. And then they found out that the information they were putting out was true. Boy, don't you think that caused a stir at Langley? Oh my.
Yeah, that's actually a great twist.
I've developed a sense of humor about it, the whole thing, particularly when I found out that the human race has a future. The planet is not going to be destroyed. That the kids who found the box of hand grenades are not going to be able to play with them and destroy this beautiful planet. Now, along the way, there are going to be some difficulties.
Okay, what do you know about, for example, what do you know about the Middle East?
The Middle East?
Yes.
Oh.
Are you aware that there's a major portal there?
That cauldron is one of the primary focuses of the experiment. Because that particular cauldron, and I use that term particularly with a choice here, was selected because of the populations that exist there and have existed there. And part of the major experiment that's underway was initiated there. Islam, Christianity, and Judaism all started in the Middle East because they decided that that was an appropriate place to stir up and prepare the, what do they call it? Chemical?
Petri dish.
Petri dish.
Yes.
The Middle East is a petri dish.
I understand.
In a laboratory that they have been operating from the beginning of time. Good God, even Zoroaster was there.
Okay, well, I want to know about the modern day Middle East. I would like to know if any of your contacts are talking to you about what's going on, for example, in the Gulf of Aden.
Why there?
Because there's a collection of Navy and all kinds of ships from all over the world, from what we understand, and I'm just wondering if you're getting any reports.
About that?
We have a whistleblower by the name of Aaron McCullum, who went on the record, took a lot of courage to do so, and I'm just wondering if you've been given any information about that particular Stargate and what's going on there.
First of all, let me tell you that there are different places on the planet where Stargates have existed for eons. And they were established and located there because geologically there was a mineralogy available in the granite or the crystal or whatever that were particularly appropriate for a Stargate, for a portal.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a place in Arizona called Portales. The Indians knew of a portal there 200 years ago. The Spaniards named it Portales, a little town out there. I haven't been there, but it's southeast of Tucson, I think, maybe northeast. Anyhow, there are portals here, there, and everywhere. There's one up in Utah, you know. You read the book, I think, The Hunt for the Skinwalker.
Sure.
There's a portal there. There's portals here, there, and everywhere.
Yes.
There's a portal at Rainier. They can open a portal any place, any time that they choose. They can open a portal along the highway between Ajo and Tucson at 2 in the morning, just like that.
Okay. But to get back to the Gulf of Aden?
Well, I'm sure there are a couple of portals there.
Mm-hmm. And are you aware of any specific goings-on there that have to do with, because my understanding is that they are actually, I mean, they've got a massing of troops that are happening in Yemen, and we're going to have to cut this very short. But are you aware of this to some degree? Have you been getting reports?
Well,
you don't need to be specific, but I need an answer. You've been getting
the Gulf of Aden, you say, huh?
Yes.
Well, it may be tied in with the fact that there is going to be a revolution in Iran. And that's pretty definite. And
Okay.
it's not going to be one that we will initiate. It's one that's going to be initiated from within Iran itself. And that collection up in the Gulf of Aden is probably connected to that. But there's going to be a revolution in Iran probably before the end of this year. And hopefully, and I'm pretty certain this is going to happen, it's going to keep the Israelis from bombing the Iranian nuclear facilities.
I have one more question before we draw this to a close, and I've already got a great ending, so we don't need to go into one here. But I want to know if you're aware of some synthetic beings that are coming into the planet at this time.
What, synthetic?
Yeah.
Where did you get that term?
Well, from various whistleblowers.
Well, you know, some of the little grays are synthetic.
Okay, but this is a specific kind of being that is actually arriving from outer space on the planet at this time.
A laboratory product,
Of a sort,
so
yes.
to speak. Synthetic. Non-physical.
But they look, for all intents and purposes, like you and I.
Yes.
So
Go
you're
to a
aware.
laboratory and turn them out, you know.
Okay. Well, I
I was
understand.
told by a scientist one time, not too many years back, that when the little guys were found inside the ships at Roswell and other places, Kingman, whatever, some of them survived. Some of them had been banged up a little bit, but they were alive, literally alive. And the military in those days thought, oh, they may be coming after them. They'll come back for them, you know. Well, they didn't. And the military